And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for yourself.
We are the last Americans. We are the last Americans. We are the last Americans.
Yo, 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 yo. Hey, yo. Damn. It's hump day.
What is up?
It's a humpity hump day.
Oh, yes. I am air humping right now, everybody. Slap that ass. Slap it.
Yeah, man. We need to get that.
Jesus.
We looked last week. We were watching some funny videos. I actually was talking about it a little bit because you bought that kiddie pool, but we were watching some pigs. They were humping the pools.
Oh, yeah.
They were in the water just going at it, dude, on these pools. And I want to take that clip for hump day and just that's how we start the show. But Chris went out and you bought that
Put
kiddie
it into
pool.
the Wednesday intros or something?
Yeah. It's just like the first video we play as it transitions.
No, it just
over.
transitions and goes straight to just a pig humping the water.
Yeah. Oh, God.
The oinky poinky.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Glad you guys are here, man. Wednesday, middle of the week. Halfway through it. We're halfway through it.
Yeah.
I already feel like it's like Friday. I'm ready to sleep for a day.
I know,
or
right?
two. It's
Well, that and you had to get up at 1 o'clock or be at the airport at 1 o'clock.
yeah, I
this
didn't get up. I just
Oh,
stayed
yeah, you
up.
picked up your wife, huh?
Yeah, I
Wife
got
and
there.
kids.
She landed in Salt Lake City. She had a layover in Salt Lake City. And then so she texted me and was like, hey, we're in Salt Lake. And seems like we're about 15 minutes behind or so. Then I had the little tracker chart. So I was kind of watching the plane.
Oh, yeah.
They got in on time at 1:06 in the morning. However, there's this like little parking spot that I always go at the airport, so I don't have to drive in circles.
Yeah,
so I went parked. Yeah, it's by Whataburger there, And so I saw that the plane landed. I'm like waiting for the message, and then she's like, "Hey, we're stuck on the tarmac. They're waiting for a plane to leave." Well, that ended up being like 30, 40 minutes. Then it was like, "Hey, the sky thing is not coming out. It's been like 10 minutes that we're waiting
the stairs or whatever.
Yeah, something. Whatever comes out and like lets them off. So like ended up like we didn't leave until like 2 in the morning. It was like an hour that I sat there.
No.
And then, 15, 20 minutes home, and then, try to give the kids a hug. And,
It's you've had a rough schedule. I mean, I will tell you.
well,
Like,
I mean, not really. I mean, I've been home alone.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I don't mind staying up late, but then you get up and you're driving and shit at 1 in the morning, and it's like hard to like calm yourself down. So she passed out. The kids were out, bro. But I was sitting there like, damn it. Now my heart's racing. I feel like I'm up.
Your heart's racing?
Well, no, not racing, but
Are you running away from the Portland serial
no, listen,
killers?
if you're
the Jill and the girls fell asleep on the way home, so Dave decided to
no, they
street
didn't.
race people. In the
no,
minivan.
dude, no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
this
saying?
motherfucker wants to race again. Okay, come
Yeah,
on,
in the
get
minivan,
some.
bro. I fucking was revving that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're, I was at the end of the evening, I was just
You're
watching.
just up and about and you're awake now.
Yeah. I was watching the Daredevil series. I'm just on that like hard. And then, you get up and you're like, you get dressed and, you get out the door and you're driving and active.
Yeah.
It's just like your brain needs to shut back off again. It's almost like
Dude,
it woke up again.
I know you're not one to take showers, all right? You're a bath man.
Oh, I have been
okay?
taking a lot of showers though.
Now, a hot fucking shower right before bed.
Yeah.
Woo, especially in winter, when it's a little bit chilly in the room, you're just like, ooh, okay. Well, yeah. Hot showers, dude. I worked swing shift for a while. And when I got home, this was many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Did a different job. But when I used to get home, it was like 3 a.m. and I would just blast the shower as hot as I could get it and then just go lay down and I would fucking pass out probably 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
in the shower? That's dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'd wake up like a raisin,
I used to do that as kind of a stress relief or like a meditation thing. I'd turn the shower on when I go to take a shower, and then I just sit in the tub and let the shower.
Don't you still do that?
Every once in a while. And let the shower come down.
I was going to say, I saw you in
and
the
let
shower the other day.
And let the shower just come down over me.
And then you weep like a music video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
my emo comes back.
Yeah, dude. Tonight will be the night that you will fuck. Especially when you used to have your hair was like longer.
It was there for
Singing
a
on
while.
a rooftop, sitting in my
yeah.
shower.
You're right though, man. Like a hot shower or bath, whichever, man. Because that's why I did it. Because wrestling and like being in sports and like back when I was actually where I used to just after a meet or something, I just lay there and soak, bro.
Oh yeah.
And I just got in the habit of doing it, man. I enjoy it. I know some people hate it, but whatever, dude.
Hey, some people don't hate the Last Americans podcast, okay? So everybody, if you're listening to this on YouTube, like and subscribe and share. Hit that notifications button.
Do it.
Leave a comment, okay? And then also leave a comment and rating and review on Apple, all right? I love listening to those. Oh, I did it again. I love reading those while I'm shitting, okay?
Oh, boy.
Yes.
He loves listening to his shit while he reads them.
There we go. I
what we go.
listen to the Kerplunk. I am such an immature little bastard, but
Yeah.
you guys leave awesome reviews. You guys are great. My wife, I think, left one the other day.
Really?
So,
I don't have Apple Podcasts on my phone.
Oh, you son of a biscuit.
Yeah,
Well-
because I have a superior Android, so I don't listen
I think
to
the
that
numbers
Apple
would say
things.
that that's not true, but hey, we'll keep it with that. You're
yeah.
different. You're being
Either
different,
way.
you know? He's
Either way.
hardcore.
You guys are just mad that I don't have those blue text messages. That's it.
Well, it's bad because it's difficult. I called you 5 times at the Comic-Con. I have no idea why that shit didn't go through.
I don't know either. That was weird.
Like, there
For
was
sure.
just,
His text messages never go through for me either.
I know, it's
Like,
weird.
whenever I send him a picture, it's like, message failed.
yeah, and then I have
But
to
anyway,
I have to
you guys,
text
just leave a comment, leave a rating, leave a review, whatever you can do, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, wherever.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. We really do.
Hell yes.
And we're just trying to get the transition as smooth as possible, and you guys have been doing a great job. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Love you.
Oh, wow.
Love you.
You just came right in. You were waiting for that.
Oh, and we got to say, tomorrow, the Patreon thing, right? We're doing a Splitsy episode tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, Thursday. We normally do just Patreon only. We're actually going to be on for about half a show for everybody. Then we'll be transitioning over into Patreon. So you guys can check that out if you want to. Our Patreon obviously already is going to watch both, but we're going to try something new there.
Hell yeah.
I kind of want to start the day. There's a few articles here. The one that you brought is interesting, but I want to talk about this because I didn't get to yesterday. There's a Portland serial killer, possibly.
Yes, dude. I'm so glad you brought this. Somebody messaged us on Instagram, and I forgot about it. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about the Austin serial killer.
Is that him?
I don't
Oh my
think so.
God.
Oh, this guy?
Who is that? He's going to kill you.
No, that's just a random video, but
that's random. Homeless man attacks drug.
Oh, okay.
but you never know. I mean, in Portland,
serial killer.
you never fucking know. But we actually really enjoyed the conversation about the Austin one because there's a lot of stuff going on with that one where people are just turning up in the Bird Lake or whatever it is.
In the river there.
Yeah, it's a river, but it's called
Downtown.
Bird Lake or Birdie Lake or whatever.
And we actually, maybe that he got caught because.
I don't know.
I don't know because they did. I seen a news thing the other day up in Pflugerville.
Yeah.
Where actually
I showed you.
I was, and they had caught a guy, and then he had admitted later that he had killed at least 10 people.
So they said that he admitted to, there was, I can't remember exactly how many people that he admitted to killing, but they said that there could be many, many more going back to the mid-90s.
So we're like, ooh, is that the Ranger
But I don't
killer?
know. Maybe there was 2. But either way.
This one's in Portland, though,
This one's
right?
in Portland. Well, this is Multnomah County. And there's a fear of a serial killer. Dozens of missing women, girls raise a red flag, cold case experts say. 6 women have been found dead within months of each other in or near Portland, sparking a fear of a serial killer. Greg, this is your
did
neck
they
of
all
the woods.
die of the same MO? Like,
I don't
did they
know.
die?
I don't know. They just are finding their bodies. There's a map here that shows where the bodies. Now, listen, one of them's way out there. What was it? Bridget Webster. She was April 30th. They found her, and she was
Way
west
down.
of Salem, which is a pretty good little commute there. But the other ones, you're talking.
are you showing the map there? Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, man.
So this shows where the bodies were found, right?
Ainsworth State Park, April 24th. Clark County, April 8th.
Eagle Creek.
Portland,
Ooh.
February 9th. Eagle Creek, man. So you're talking. There's like a little square here, a little corridor. And these are just 5 of them. There was another body, a 6th body apparently. I don't know about the exact cause of like their deaths. I haven't really dived into it that deep. But even in Portland, it's rare to have. I mean, missing people. There's a lot of them. It says roughly half of the 140 people missing from Multnomah County in Oregon so far this year, which includes the city of Portland, are women and girls. So you're talking about 70 people of the 140 are women or girls.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are just missing. You don't ever find them.
There are currently 401 active missing person cases statewide.
Yeah.
401?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
they
boy.
found the bodies of 6 women, and they were discovered in and around the city in a 5-month span. That should raise alarms. They're all roughly, it looks like, close to the same age.
Yeah, they're all
female.
the same hair color. They're all female. Yeah.
You know, so it just begs the question. Like, and I think with Austin, the reason that I'm tying those two together is like, I feel like, and a lot of people feel like they're not putting the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? Like, they keep saying these are accidental drownings, when in reality here, it's like, bro, these are all between 25 and 35 males by themselves drowning in a river that if you actually go down to the river, there's spots that you could fall in, but there's like trees and shit and bushes. And so
this does say at least one case has been linked to homeless encampments and the open air drug markets.
Yeah.
Is there an open air drug market in
Portland pretty much legalized everything. I actually just watched.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a lot of people are saying that that's one of the huge issues that they're having is that, you know, it's rampant downtown and shit. Where
fentanyl and all that shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So the whole article talks about a retired NYPD sergeant and now adjunct professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice said the sheer number should be considered a public safety concern. Even if no foul play is suspected, you should still be looking at this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that there is some sway to want to blame this on the homeless encampment and the open air drug market.
Sure.
As we just mentioned. So, like, the fentanyl deaths, I think fentanyl, out of all of the drug overdoses, I think fentanyl is involved in like 94%. It's something fucking ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what's laced anymore. Right. And remember back in the day, we would buy some weed off some random dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, oh, thanks, man. Oh, this smells like oregano, but I'm going to smoke it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now.
Thanks for criminalizing us.
Well, hey, I mean, this was back in the day.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like a cousin of the cousin of a cousin of a friend of yours says, like, dude, I know someone. You're like, let's meet up in an alley.
I got a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, man, I think we got a good one. Oh, this smells like a skunk, dude. Oh,
like,
I can't wait to
meet me behind the Burger King at 1 a.m. You're like, yeah, no problem, dude.
But there was one time where I smoked some stuff with my buddy, and my buddy turned white as a ghost, and he's like, I don't feel very good. And everybody started tripping balls. I remember another friend started puking, and I was like, whoa, what the hell did we just put in our bodies, right?
Yeah, a little angel dust in there, you know what I'm saying? It happens.
Apparently, somebody said that it was laced with mescaline. And I'm like, okay.
What the hell's that?
I have no idea. But
I mean, I've heard it. I don't know what it does, per se. But
I've never even heard of that before.
So I don't know if that's true or not. That was just like what everybody was saying.
Was
But
that
then,
some other stoner who said that? It's like, bro, that's mescaline, man.
While they were tripping, they're like, I think it's laced with mescaline.
Yeah, bro. Did you smoke the mescalator, dude? Like, he went up the fucking hill, bro. No, so anyway, I feel like drugs. Did they clarify whether or not these women had drugs in the remains in the bodies?
I don't know that No, they did not. They did not. They didn't get that far. It's really like a base level thing. And I think when you're looking at this, like, listen, obviously Portland has a real serious homeless problem, a vagabond problem, people just doing whatever they want to problem.
Prostitutes.
It says of the bodies they found, only one has been publicly declared a homicide by investigators. Yeah. It was found with blunt head and neck injuries.
Oh, boy.
That doesn't mean that it's not. Because, listen, Portland has a problem with the police department, too. Let's be very clear. They're not able to engage in as many calls because they've been defunded in a lot of ways, right, over the years. And so to ask that they be investigating this is like kind of a hard task, man. I don't know that they're going to spend time if there's not.
It's only the one that's been released. So it's like there isn't really any information on the rest of them.
But there are people, including that NYPD guy, who's saying, like, if you think, this is a quote, if you think that these are the only 6 bodies in the area, I think you'd be mistaken. There needs to be a full investigation, including a cadaver dog and everything else in between.
A cadaver dog?
I'm just saying, you know, I think that he's putting pieces together saying, hey, we got women around the same age, around, you know, similar features and stuff, you know, which is generally MOs when it comes to serial killers, right? They go after certain women with certain hair. Now, to be fair, one looks like maybe more red hair, but they're all about the same age, you know, very similar to Portland, right? Like they're all in that kind of 20 to 30-year-old age group. Finding these scattered throughout, like there's a good chance that there's more.
Oh, yeah.
And not taking it serious is a crime, dude.
Who is this? Who did they interview in this article? Gia Cologne. Gia Cologne. Who is Gia Cologne?
I don't know.
That's that's what I told you. Joseph Giuliani is a retired NYPD sergeant and now adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Okay, so he was quoted saying, like, talk about a serial killer sweet spot. That's what Portland is because of the drugs, the prostitution, the homelessness, and the abolish the police movement that you just talked about.
Yeah, dude.
Perfect cover.
You know, we were we had this conversation multiple times, not with you guys, but with my wife, because she obviously we still have some of the Calais County and stuff, like new shit that pops up on our feeds occasionally, and obviously her parents and her friends all live there. But there's been like more murders and suicides lately.
Yeah.
Not so much suicide, but murders happening even in our town, bro. There was one just like 2 weeks ago in Longview.
Austin?
In Longview and Kelso. It's like not. It was weird back in the day when you had a murder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there always was like one or two or something. And if you remember, like when we were in middle school, there was Kara Rudd, which was a friend of mine who was murdered, and that became a very big case.
That was a child too.
That was a child, but I'm just saying, like, we don't have those situations very often where there's like people being murdered. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking real like murder, and all of a sudden, it just feels like there's more.
It's ramping up.
And I mean, how much of that was us not paying attention and not looking into it as well?
It's not, because even like, you know, my wife's dad and her mom's just like, it's fucking wild, bro. There's just like stabbings, murders, and that stuff was not a thing. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of the Portland communities moving up in the area. Yeah. You know, prices going up, people moving out of Portland, and you know, Longview was homelessness, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's a lot of it, dude.
I mean, over the last 5-7 years, the homelessness in the area we used to live in is crazy now.
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad.
You know, but like you said, it's not like you want to put this solely on the homeless. Like, you know, in general, serial killers are not like homeless people. They're people that are taking advantage of the system. And maybe they are. Maybe there is somebody in Portland saying, hey, I can get away with this because of all these other issues. I'm just going to kind of slide under the radar.
Well, I mean, there for a while, you'd hear about a serial killer, like, was in the news. Like, that was a thing that serial killers were out there and, like, doing the same thing. All of a sudden it stopped. But did it stop, or they just stopped kind of, like, reporting them or, like, doing the investigation like it was a serial killer? Like, because it makes you wonder, like, have serial killers always been there? And they're just killing a bunch of people all the time, and they're not really linking things together.
Yeah.
Because there for a while, serial killers, there's how many there's 3 or 4 well-known ones up in the Northwest area.
Yeah, there's been a few up in the Northwest, man.
Yeah, there's like the Lucky Charms one. There's the Frosted Flakes one. I mean, these serial killers are just killing it, bro.
Yeah, man. The Green River killer, the real one, the Green River.
Yeah, like there was really prominent ones up there. I mean, like, and then all of a sudden it stops. I don't think so.
At Northwest,
I think they just
it's that Northwest
linking people together and are just chalking it up.
It's because it's hard to investigate. That's why. And like they don't actually do it until there's like some absolute proof of it. And then at that point, there's 10 people dead. Yeah. I mean, you see that in even like any documentary of this shit. It's like they didn't tie it together. You know what I'm saying? That there was multiple. And I've been watching this thing called like the Innocent Files, I believe it is, on Netflix, where it's like a series that follows, like, it's not individual stories per se.
Yeah.
But they were saying that how many people are in jail and in prison that were innocent. And there was a case where a dude like strangled a kid. They blamed it on this guy. He went to jail for 30 years. And right after he went to jail, there was another one, same situation. And another innocent person went to jail. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they find out, like, oh, there's a guy that was going around doing this that was not either of those two. And it's like, bro, they were the same fucking thing. Like, broke into the home, kidnapped the child, killed the child, threw him in a pond. It was the same same weapon, the whole nine. And they didn't even tie those two together, and they happened within 6 months of each other.
So, Chris, I just sent you a link. This was just updated April 2023. Serial killers by state, and it has a map. Has a nice map that shows you like the density by each state, like which state has the highest serial killers. Okay. Now, these are total victims 1992 to 2019, so they have some catching up to do as far as like the victim database. But California clearly
off the fucking charts.
Well, Texas
Florida is number 2 with the top serial killer. But that's, between the last 20, 30 years you were talking?
Well, no, but you got to understand, California, Texas, and Florida are heavily, heavily populated, man.
Exactly. That was going to be my point.
New York is up there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually be more interested on a per capita situation. Like, per number of people per state, like what are the odds? Now,
well, actually,
Washington,
I want to see how this changes over time. That would be the more interesting thing. Like, what's the more current serial killer rate? Like, is Texas lower? Washington's higher? You know what I mean?
I mean, shit, Vermont, 11. I mean, Washington is, for whatever reason, greener than Idaho or Montana or Oregon. I mean, for some reason, like maybe that's because Seattle is the bigger city.
Higher population,
of the group there, but. I mean, to be fair, like to Chris's
I
point,
don't think Montana gets any because they go to that one little spot on the border that doesn't belong to anybody, and that's where they all get dropped off.
True,
the zone of death.
The zone of death, man.
Yeah, that's where they go. That's why they don't have any numbers up there.
Yeah. But I mean, to Chris's point, we've had multiple very famous serial killers coming out of Washington.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they go down the I-5 corridor, which is a very easy highway from, to Canada to Mexico, bro. So you see a lot of that. But Ted Bundy was predominant in Seattle. They had the Green River Killer or whatever. There was another one that actually my mom had a run-in with when she was working.
She had a run-in with?
Yeah, man. I can't remember the name.
A serial killer?
She did.
Oh, that's right. And she almost got taken by them?
She said somebody basically startled the guy away, but she was working at a flower shop out of high school, I believe it was, or in high school, out of high school. And a dude showed up and she was there. There's another guy that was like in the back room, but
Robert Lee Yates. That's another one in Spokane.
Yeah. I can't remember what the dude's name was, but either way, this dude came in and started talking to her and it was like they were closing up and stuff. And, he was like kind of luring her in basically. And then this dude that she worked with came out of the back room and the guy just turned around and walked out. And then months later, she saw a picture of, the wanted list for the guy and it was him. So she was like, could have been like a really weird situation, man. So,
you could have ended up dead, bro.
Yeah. But that's the thing with I-5, and you see this all the time with like the highway being right there, even kidnappings. Where we grew up, like the highway was right there. And so like if, somebody was abducted in Portland or even in our hometown, it's like they could be on the highway in 5 minutes and they're just gone at that point.
It's still one of the more concerning things. I mean, just women alone with their children, it's like a one-on-one thing where you have like a mom, maybe 3 kids taking their kids to Target or something.
Yeah.
And then you see people just following people around. Chris, you were just talking about this the other day on the show.
Yeah.
Like, people notice when there's suspicious activity like that, but some people don't. And they become victims.
Dude, there was a situation right before we left that was like scary up by our house, up in that area where we used to live. And it was a school. The bus dropped a student off at the wrong stop. Or the student got off at the wrong stop. And the parents were like looking for the student. It's a younger girl. The mom was like, hey, she's not at the bus stop where she should be. Apparently she was let go at a different bus stop. And supposedly a woman picked her up. And so she was
random
like,
fucking woman
she was,
come on, get in my car.
Yeah. So the mom starts driving around and she's going down the hill where we used to live there. And she passes the car. She sees her daughter in the passenger seat of this car with this woman. And she immediately flips a bitch, fucking cuts this woman off, calls the police and shit. How scary.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying.
Because with the trafficking situation, man, it is no joke. That woman, if she didn't go up the hill and just went the other way, would have been on the highway in minutes.
And where the fuck was she going? Like, why wouldn't you just call somebody and say, hey, this little girl, is lost?
Yeah, there's no defense. You would say, let me call your mom for you, and you'd wait with her.
Exactly.
And, let people know what's going on or flag a couple other cars down.
You just put her in the car and take off?
Yeah, it's not good, man. But that's to your point, Greg, people are fucking weird now. And they're not ashamed anymore. Like, they don't try to hide like they used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and it's like the whole COVID lockdown gave everybody an excuse. Be like, oh I'm all isolated and weird. I'm gonna kill people. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it just allowed them to blossom. Yeah,
it's listen. I'm not trying to point fingers like just Portland. Portland, like there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of good things about Portland that are there still.
Yeah, it's
But
just heavily populated. Just
well,
like,
it's that, and it's also just like the new policy and the way that people are running things. It's allowing things like this to spur, and then you cut down the police force and you cut down all the stuff, and they don't have the time to investigate like they should.
Knowing there's no consequence for anything.
Yeah, it's really dangerous, man. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if there's really a serial killer in Portland, but I think that there's enough bodies that you should be looking at it. Like, I don't see why you don't have a little mini, 2-3 person task force looking at this shit. You should.
Well, it just depends on if they have the bodies to hire. You know what I mean? Do you have the force to look into it?
Then I guess you get what's coming to you when you live in these areas, because
it's true.
That's what happens when you decide that you don't want police around anymore, or investigators and shit. So it's an interesting story, man. It's worth keeping your eye on, just like the Austin killer.
So, I mean, speaking of people dying,
man.
We had this witness in the Biden bribery scheme die mysteriously. Okay. And now this is a revelation from Rudy Giuliani. He was speaking with Rita Cosby on the Saturday Report on Newsmax. And during this episode, Rudy Giuliani claimed that he offered to give the U.S. attorney information about a whistleblower with access to smoking gun evidence of Biden international bribery scheme, but he was ignored, and she later died under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, apparently, this was the chief accountant at Burisma, like the Ukrainian oil and gas company. And she was willing to come forward and provide all of these like transactions and all this stuff, right?
All the offshore bank accounts, supposedly.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And they waited forever, and she had ended up dying, I guess. This was also years ago that he came and warned about this. And so I took a snippet of the actual interview from that show, and I'd like you guys just to listen to what he says, because it's pretty entertaining, but it's also kind of sad.
I like how he's sitting in his car at a gas station.
I know, right?
You see people pumping
so
fuel.
Fucking Rudy Giuliani.
Jeez, man.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Am I sweating my hair stain?
God, it is rude. Giuliani. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. He puts the rude and Rudy.
Yeah.
God.
Let's see what he says, man.
On a day in which we find out that the Bidens took a $10 million bribe from a Ukrainian, Mykola Zlochevsky, which I could have told you, and did tell them 3 years ago. And they followed up on none of the evidence I gave them. They were hoping the people would disappear or die. It's extraordinary. I gave them one witness that any investigator would jump through hoops to go to. Gave them a witness who is a woman who was the chief accountant at this crooked company, Burisma. She was the wife of the former owner who died under suspicious circumstances. And she was willing to give up all of the offshore bank accounts, including the Bidens. And she supervised the transfer of a lot more cash to the Bidens and other crooked politicians for Burisma.
Are you confident that now the House committee is going to get to the bottom of that? Because that is stunning, Rudy.
I sure hope so. I mean, the reality is that we gave it to them in January of 2020. And the Pittsburgh U.S. attorney was very interested. And then in a very strange move, Barr took it away from him, gave it to the U.S. attorney in Delaware. He didn't do a damn thing about it. And the woman was under threat of death. So we tried to put pressure on them to do something. Look, suppose she was lying. You would find out in a minute. She wouldn't have the accounts. She either has the goods or she doesn't. And it's absurd not to interview her.
1,000%.
She claimed she had bank accounts and that the Bidens got a lot more money under the table than already we had $8 million on the table that we could prove, which they could prove tomorrow if they wanted to. They could have proved it 3 years ago, Rita. They could have indicted him before he ran for president and obviated this problem. We could have found out if he was innocent or guilty in January of 2020. All the witnesses were there. And
See? So why? Why did they wait, bro?
Dude, Rudy's sounding like Chris in the morning, bro.
I know. I wanted to clear my throat the entire time listening to that guy. I was like, God damn, bro.
I need
clear
to
your fucking throat.
Take some pointers from that gal, too. She's like, that's revelation news.
I know. She had her hand on her hip like, now, Rudy, you better be telling the truth here, buddy. Wink, 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 wink. Nod, nod.
No, listen, here's the deal. Rudy, I think he's digging, and I think he's trying to find stuff. Now, whether he's right all the time, wrong all the time, I don't know, but it is startling that like this stuff, and we've seen this. I mean, this has been backed up by paperwork, right? Yeah. That the DOJ and the FBI have had information and sat on it. So it's not shocking when he says, I sent this to them in 2020 and they did nothing.
Yeah.
That's not even shocking.
Well, and that always doesn't end up being because there's corruption. There could just be incompetence. It kind of reminds me of a, I mean,
dude,
I'm going to throw this out there. It reminds me of a scene from National Treasure.
Oh boy.
Where he's
Randy Quaid?
Nicolas Cage is going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Oh wait, different movie.
And he goes, the FBI or whatever shows up after it's done. He's like, we actually had an anonymous tip come in that somebody was going to steal the Declaration of Independence. And the guy goes, and why was nobody told about this? And he's like, well, we deemed it not credible.
Yeah.
And he's like, is it credible now?
Yeah. I remember that scene.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy said, Rudy Giuliani said that he handed it over to Attorney General Barr, right? The whistleblower stuff.
No, he handed it to someone. He handed it to someone there,
Yeah.
and then Barr took it.
Yeah, Barr took it.
Barr took it and then handed it off to Delaware attorney who did nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, why did Attorney General Barr not pursue anything? All right? I mean, this guy is fucking holding up some stuff here.
Yeah.
AG Barr, come on now.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless he looked at it and thought that there was nothing to it. You know, there was no credibility to it. And like, listen, to Chris's point, like, I don't want to believe that they're incompetent. Like, their whole job is based off of, like, especially when you're at that level, is based off looking at this stuff, right?
Well, regardless of what job you're at, there's going to be incompetent people.
For sure.
But at that level, though, I feel like you're not incompetent. You know what you're doing, and you do stuff maliciously on purpose. Yeah,
I mean, listen, I don't think that it could happen. It could happen. And maybe Barr looked at it and just said, hey, there is no, this person, no one knows who this is. There's no record that she ever worked for these people. There's nothing. And so that might have been the case where they just said, hey, we did look into it and we didn't feel like, now they could be wrong. And that happens all the time with police. They literally interview killers.
Yeah.
And then they release them only to find out 6 months later that they were the fucking killer the whole time. So,
I mean, how hard would it be to look up this whistleblower and the chief accountant at Burisma and see if the two names match up?
Dude, here's the problem, dude. Watching the Daredevil, I tell you what, man, you really got to watch that. It's great. They are able to fuck with records and shit. And if they don't want you to be known, like, they can get rid of you. You know what I'm saying?
That's Bob Lazar, bro, to a T. That's what they did to him.
Oh, yeah. Like,
took away his fucking college education.
Never went there, never worked there,
Good point.
all this stuff.
Yeah, good point. Listen, is that kind of like woo-woo? It is, a little bit. But I'm just saying.
Not really.
I'm just saying to say that it can't happen, especially when you're talking about a very corrupt company, like, it can. So maybe, like Bob Lazar, that's a great example, Greg. Maybe, she was telling the truth and they just hid all that so that she didn't look like a serious person.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine. So Rudy was saying it wasn't just the Bidens, it was a lot of politicians with corrupt money. So imagine the incentive to get rid of this woman.
Well, like we've said it in the past before, like how many different politicians' sons work for these companies over there.
Yeah.
Like they all have ties to like weird companies in China or companies in Ukraine. And it's like, why?
Yeah. I want to know what they consider suspicious. I'd like to know how was it he or she? It sounded like
I think it was a woman. Yeah.
I want to know how she died and what makes it suspicious. Because obviously if he did this in 2020, we're the height of a pandemic, people were dying for whatever reason. It could be, something else.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know what she died from. It just says died mysteriously only because she was a potential.
But that's the thing. Like he said it in the thing where he's like, sometimes they just sit on this crap knowing that they're probably going to die.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I was talking about with Biden.
Like, if she already had health issues or something?
Yeah. Like Biden, like if you wait too long, there is a real chance that Biden doesn't even make it to see anything.
Yeah.
I think Rudy Giuliani was pointing out, like, they're going to get taken out. Like, they're going to wait until this person dies by being taken out.
I'm sure that's
just a natural.
I know. I'm sure that's what he meant. I just was saying that, like, at certain age groups, you're more likely, your time, if you're 80, 82, You know, sure, you could live another 18 years, you know, if you're lucky, right? But at the end of the day, it's like 82. You're like, you're on the last leg of your journey. The door. And so, like, it wouldn't be shocking if to sit on something and just somebody have something happen to them. They have a heart attack. They have a fucking accident. They fall, you know, like.
They jump off a 27-story building.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was she hanging from a tree with a gun, you know, on the ground? Like, I mean,
yeah.
There's been a lot of cases where we've seen that are very questionable, and we have no idea how she actually, you know, passed on.
Now, and to be fair, this is coming from Rudy Giuliani, so we don't know if this is backed up by any evidence. I mean, this is just coming out of this man's mouth, right?
Yep.
He has no documented proof to prove that what he's saying is true. So let's put that out there too.
Yeah, and Rudy, like, he's done a lot of great things. You know, historically, he's done a lot. He helped New York a lot. He's come out with some good evidence, but there's been times where it's a little fringy, bro, and it gets a little bizarre, and he's lost a lot of people that way as well. You know, so it's to your point, Greg. I mean, you just have to look at it and say, like, okay, this is a road that we can dig on and go forward from there, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they sat on a whistleblower, but it's like, dude, just show the proof then. Show the proof. Like, you're making this bold claim that they, you know, quote unquote, killed her under mysterious circumstances. Come out and prove it, right?
Yeah. But I mean, he did do a lot with the you know, with the laptop and shit, you know? It's like there's things that he was saying back then that people were like,
true. You're like, you're full of shit, man, and it ended up actually being true.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, he came out with that stuff way before anybody else did, and look at where he went. So,
but he has, I don't have anything on the top of my head, but I know that there's been times where he said things that I'm just like, damn it, Rudy, like, that's so dumb. You know, and you know, again, you can't just trust these people wholeheartedly, but
exactly,
you can look at, like, okay, if he's saying this, now what does that mean? You know, like, let's look up who was the woman.
Yeah.
How did she die? I'm sure her death is in some record somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, she's dead. So why not come out with her name? Be like, she was a whistleblower. Her name was this, this, and this. She's dead.
Maybe for her family's sake, you know, maybe there's concerns that they would go after her family. I mean,
good point.
Don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's not shocking, but it's interesting.
I mean, it kind of lends to the fact that there are so many whistleblowers coming out now. Like, why? Like you said before, like if you're afraid for your life, why don't it just come out? That way, everybody knows who you are, and it'd be even more suspicious if you ended up gone.
Yep.
And that that's kind of what they're doing now with so many more whistleblowers coming out over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm sure we'll hear some of it because Rudy's not one to let up if he really believes something's going on. But the way he talked about it too was kind of like it happened, and that was just an example of something that happened before. Like, it's not like new news. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was kind of just like, yeah, we even had a whistleblower who died. And, well, you know, it's like, are you still running with it or are you not, you know?
Yeah, because the whistleblower now is from Ukraine, right? The Ukrainian whistleblower.
Yeah, I believe so.
Or something.
I think
I mean, it kind of ties in. Maybe it's an associate from Burisma. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure she's not the only one that has those records too. So
yes,
but yeah, I mean, listen, we're talking about very powerful people and a lot of money, and so it's not shocking or out of the realm that they wouldn't get rid of people in order to protect themselves, man, including Joe Biden.
Yeah.
What
about people? What about people who get rid of themselves to teach their family a lesson?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I actually brought this in. More of on the humor side of things, but I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on, like, is it too far? You know what I mean? Did you go too far? There's a Belgian man, okay, and he decided that he was going to fake his death, and then as they were holding the funeral, he flies in on a helicopter like a boss.
Fucking epic, bro.
Lands, and then just is like, what's up, everybody? I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of, his point really was to teach people a lesson. He apparently had said that he felt like people weren't getting a hold of him. Family wasn't wanting to come around. They weren't inviting him to things. And you know how life goes, man. Like, you really do have, like, your close friends and family, and then the rest you see when you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his point was, hey, you know, like, I'm here. We're all here. Like, why are we not spending more time together? So he faked his death. And his wife, I believe his wife and kids were also in on this as well.
Oh, shit. Really?
So it really, like, yeah, it says TikToker David Berton, along with his wife and children, decided to orchestrate the prank to loved ones to see who actually cared about the 45-year-old. And the daughter, so to spread the news of his death, one of his children took to social media and wrote a tribute to the father saying, quote, "Rest in peace, Daddy. I will never stop thinking about you. Why is life so unfair? Why you? You were going to be a grandfather and you still had your whole life ahead of you. I love you. We love you. We'll never forget you." Pretty convincing, right? Listen, think about your any of them. Think about your friend that has a family and kids. If they wrote something like this, you'd be like, "What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Like, no way." Well, the funeral happened. It says the fake funeral, which was held near the city of Liège last weekend, was attended by dozens of friends and family members dressed in black, waiting for the ceremony to begin until they were met with a landing helicopter.
So is he like rich? Did he
have
own the
some money.
He
helicopter?
must be fucking rich, bro.
And he just flew in on his own helicopter?
Well, he has an
or
account.
did he like rent it to just make a presence?
Yeah, he has a pretty decent amount of following and stuff, but it said
Can
that
you do that? Just rent a helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you
Okay.
could. I mean,
With
you,
the pilot, though, right?
yeah, you could.
Okay.
Unless he knows what he's doing. But this says the dead man alongside a camera crew hopped out of the chopper as he greeted his mourners with a "Cheers to you all, welcome to my funeral."
Oh my god.
So I'm watching this video. It's pretty long. I don't know if there's a way to fast forward it, but like it is pretty fucking weird where you just have a small group of people kind of mourning.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's just out in this field, lands his helicopter, he gets out and everybody just rushes the field and starts hugging him. You know, like what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, man. Like how shocking would that be? Like that would be weird.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I will tell you what, you'll never forget him going forward, right? Be like, oh,
No.
Fucking crazy.
And then you'll question, like, is he really dead this time?
You remember
like,
when
he does
fucking
die?
crazy Uncle Carl faked his own death and showed up in a
shit.
fucking helicopter?
That
on a
was so
flying
cool.
steel steed.
Yeah, man. It's kind of dangerous to be running to that helicopter, though. I've seen those things whack heads off, dude, if you get too close to those blades. But
Well,
happens
how
all the
fucked
time.
up would it be if, like, the helicopter did crash and they just
Oh, God.
he just crashed and burned right in front of his whole family?
We tried to do the prank, and then as he's flying in, it's weird.
It just takes out the whole group.
Lesson learned to who here?
He did come out and say that since this, he has got more phone calls, more invites, and even people that didn't show up to the funeral were reaching out to him saying that they wanted to get together and stuff. So he feels like it was a lesson learned and it was a good thing to do.
Isn't it illegal to fake your own death?
So, yes, but I don't know if he put in like a death certificate and all that shit. I don't think they informed the public, or they just, I think it was just a TikTok thing, right?
Okay.
Saying like, hey, you'll be missed.
Which kind of goes to the point of like, don't believe everything you see on social media, man. But it is bizarre that he got his wife and kids to do it. That's what sold it, right? Because if the wife and the kids are writing these posts, like why in the world would, if my wife was writing a post saying like, we're going to miss you, Dave, and the kids are like, Dad, I love you, and I miss you so much. There's no way you wouldn't believe that. No fucking way.
That's true.
No way you wouldn't believe it. So perfect setup. I would have to imagine some people were pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
Absolutely,
you know,
Like, oh, what is this shit?
yeah, Rudy's like, I took the day off of work for this shit. What the fuck, bro? You know what I mean?
I'm out here sweating.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
man.
Arkansas. No, where was this at?
Belgian. Or Belgium.
Belgium.
Belgian. No, it's
Belgian
Belgium.
waffles.
Belgian waffles. Yeah, it was a Belgian man.
So
Yeah.
the laws about faking your own death might be different in Belgium as well.
Yeah, I think this was very low level. I don't think they went to the full extent. You know what I'm saying? But either way, it's interesting. I wanted to know if
I would've
is that
done
too
it.
far? Is that too far?
Nah.
It's memorable. That's for damn sure.
Like,
I mean, I would be shocked. I'd be like, what in the David Copperfield is this shit?
I
Like, this guy just
wouldn't have
comes out
come in
of-
on a helicopter, though. I'd have like popped out of the casket.
oh man.
Oh,
That would have been.
And then we open
that
the
would've been
casket and he's
crazier.
dead of heat stroke.
No, like you're in
yeah.
there with like you have your oxygen, so you can stay in there for a long time.
Sure.
And then when the moment strikes, you just go.
But in seriousness, though, if I did this prank, like me personally, and my wife and kids were involved, and like this was like a week where you guys thought I was dead, you know, and like, you know, my wife and kids are mourning, and you guys showed up to my funeral, and everybody's like sad and shit, and there's people showing up, family members, like, and I was just like, hey, I'm here. Like you just
Yeah,
be like,
dude, imagine,
you would just say,
well,
good job, bro, like great prank.
No,
Like,
you'd probably get a punch for sure.
well, just imagine like the travel, the logistics, the money spent on airplane stuff. Like there's like the time off of work.
yeah.
Because like obviously, if any of my friends died, I'm taking time off work and
Yeah.
I'm being there. But it's like, then you got to look at, okay, well, I guess we can just hang out and party. let's make the best of this.
I guess, but I would be like, really, dude? Like, you couldn't just say like, hey, man, we need to get together more. Like, you never know. Like, you could have had just a real talk with me, but
maybe there is that, because that does happen. You always say that to people, man, we should get together or whatever, and then like you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think this guy honestly did this for clicks, and he did this to gain more TikTok followers. He already has like 165,000 TikTok followers.
Yeah. It doesn't always turn out for people though. Like that one guy from that band, Upon a Burning Body or whatever.
Oh, he faked his
kidnapping.
Death. No, kidnapping.
Faked a kidnapping to sell albums, and that backfired huge on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, don't inform law enforcement, I guess.
Like, people will do extreme shit. I wouldn't be like mad forever, but I'd be like, dude, that's like really fucked up. Like, that's really fucked up, dude. That your kids did it. Like, that's really fucked up. I hope you die, sucker. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what this reminds me of is the like this kind of came out a while ago, but the AI that people are using. So like they would take a clip of Dave, your voice or something, and they would use an AI algorithm to call and say like, hey, I've been kidnapped or something. They've kidnapped me.
Car wrecks.
Yes, they're using AI now to prank people and to extort them. Take money from them.
Yeah. Or just to scare people. I mean, there's to your point, like we saw the thing where the AI was calling like grandparents and shit, acting like the grandson, and having like these major things happening, or they need to borrow money. Yeah. There was one girl whose brother supposedly called and sounded like he got in a car wreck on the call. So she went out driving all around looking for his car that was wrecked, and it was never a wreck. So just like causing fear. It's like almost like terroristic kind of.
Yeah.
Because you could go really crazy with that shit if you really wanted to.
It's the deep fake craze, man. It's coming.
But I mean, this guy, like a boss, came in on a helicopter. Very different.
Yes.
It's good old mechanics right there, not AI. You know what I'm saying? So no, it's. I think it was an interesting story. It's humorous, and also it kind of raises the question of like, how far is a prank too far? You know what I mean? Like, is it going too far? Is it really messing with the family? It's pretty wild, bro. Do we have time for another one here? I think we do. I want to talk about this new study that I had this yesterday. Women who start the pill as teens or birth control have 130% higher rate of depression. And when I was talking to Chris about this yesterday, like it kind of explains quite a bit, really. Yeah. When we were in school, man, when we were in middle school and high school, I'm sure high school maybe changed a little bit, but like, middle school especially, like there weren't kids on birth control, man. Like, it's just like that wasn't a big thing.
Yeah.
At least anybody that I knew.
Well, wait a second. Once we got into high school?
I said that probably changed. But in middle school, like there was not kids on birth control. Like my girlfriends and stuff that I remember having, they just, it wasn't a huge thing then. Yeah. Like parents.
I think you got to wait until after puberty, right? Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, for most girls, don't most girls go through puberty before boys do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you do get on the pill during or before puberty, what effect will that have later on in life?
Well, it's, I feel like at the time, and we talked about this in other aspects, even just as far as how they dressed. When we moved, I found all my old photos and shit. You know what I'm saying? I had a bunch of photos from like middle school, high school, like a box of photos that we used to have the wind up cameras and shit. We used to take them to the middle school, and you take pictures of your friends and shit. Got Sean Baker in there. They got a couple pictures of you, a couple of our friends. And you just look at the girls in the pictures and you're just like, man, they dress so differently.
Yeah.
Then, and that was like what, 98, 97, 98, 98. They didn't dress scandalously and shit. Like they were wearing like hoodies and jeans.
Yeah,
and fucking girls were just like girls. They were just, teenage girls. And so things have changed a lot. And I just feel like when we were in school, we didn't have a lot of girls that were on birth control because there wasn't that big of a concern about sex really then.
Is this what this is saying though? Like it's now becoming more prevalent among middle schoolers?
Well, not really middle schoolers. It's like freshman age, like early high school, 15,
16-year-olds.
Yeah, 15, 16s.
Yeah. So
it says here, like in 2016, a report from JAMA Psychiatry revealed that the use of hormonal contraceptives was often linked to subsequent use of prescription antidepressants.
Yeah.
Or a diagnosis of depression.
Yeah.
And then
are we shocked by this finding because, I mean, you're messing with the girls' hormones.
No.
I mean, these are like the hormones that are kind of like the crazy hormones, like the estrogen and all that stuff that make people kind of go a little emotional.
Well, I mean, it just goes to everything now. Like, I feel like over the last couple of years, now we're like hyper looking at everything that we're taking, that these pharmaceutical companies are making and giving people. Like, what effects is all this shit having on people?
And that was my point, is that the study is showing that, like, obviously, it says another study found that 16-year-old girls taking oral contraceptives reported more crying, sleep irregularities, eating problems than teenage girls of the same age who didn't use them.
Yeah.
And so why I brought that up was because, you know, obviously depression's a thing, bro. I mean, we know that. And when we were in middle school, there were some kids that you could tell were kind of depressed and shit. But now I feel like a large majority of people are on some form of medication.
Dude, well, think about how this links all of this together.
Yeah.
I mean, you want kids to have sex, but you don't want them to have babies. You want abortions. So what do? You push the pill, right?
Yeah.
So they get on birth control, which leads to what? Depression. So then they get on what?
More
antidepressants.
Yeah.
And then they do what? Kill people. Or they go fucking crazy.
Or they lose it. Because your brain is obviously developing a lot at this period of time. And when you're starting to inject yourself or pump yourself with medications, the reason I'm just tying is because I feel like we didn't see that as much as we do now.
Yeah.
And when you look at the way that girls are now, it's just like, man, like that was not how it was then. Like just the way that they even like the maturity to it all. You know what I'm saying? Like in high school, you started seeing like women, you know, when we were in school, like starting to get a little more style, maybe showing, you know, a little.
Dude, that's a great point.
And
because, I mean, what does that do? It pushes the pill on younger girls. And so you're fucking them up even younger now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. And that could be why all of a sudden we see a huge spike in depression. We see a huge spike in body dysmorphia. We see a huge spike in sleeplessness or people like, I mean, just a whole thing, everything about it.
Add on top of that, social media.
Yeah.
I mean, how bad is that as far as an influence on our children?
Yeah. And so you have these things where, you know, like obviously you could even dive into the hormones and foods and shit that, you know, maybe is progressing men and women, you know, to, you know, being more developed and shit at younger ages. But then parents now are even more concerned with everything. And they see that the styles changed a lot. They see that, you know, younger ages are, you know, into boys at a younger age.
Well, yeah. And it has everything to do with the age too. Like the hormones that you're getting, like we were saying, and the brain function. Because it also says here, the study revealed that the depression declined when women continued to use the pills after the first 2 years. So the longer you use them, the depression rates kind of declined a little. But teenagers using the pills still had an increased rate of depression even after they stopped.
Yeah.
So this is like has some long lasting effects here.
Yeah.
And that said, that effect was not seen in adult users. So, you know, very much that like if you're hitting them at this right sweet spot with these medications,
you're having a dramatic
long-term effects, man. And what are the parents supposed to do? That's kind of was my question is like, you know, if you're a parent, which we all are, you know that there's a higher risk now. You know that kids maybe are experimenting younger than we did as the same age. Yeah. And so I understand that these parents are like, hey, we don't want to take any risks. We want to make sure that they're on birth control.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, are parents thinking about like, you're still putting shit in these kids'
What
body?
mental effects is this actually happening?
Yeah,
I think you got to like come clean with your kids. Be like, look, you have sex without birth control.
Yeah.
You're going to get pregnant. All right. But if you do have sex with birth control, you're going to have some sort of lifelong depression here. You're bound to just be depressed your whole life if you take it right now. So here's what having a baby is like. And I feel like right now when I have, you know, because my kids are like, what, 10 and 8.
Yeah.
My oldest. And so my daughter's 8. And she saw what it was like to raise another kid, right? Because our youngest child is 3.
Yeah.
And so she saw that. So did my eldest son.
Yeah.
And they're like, boy, this is not fun. I don't want this. And I always tell them as soon as like Kai, my youngest, starts freaking out, I go, don't have kids until you're ready.
Yeah.
Right. This is what it's like.
Well,
Are
see,
you
but
guys
you're doing the
wanting
right
to have-
thing. You're communicating. And I
Yes.
think that's really, honestly, when you
Yeah.
break it down, that really is the problem. The problem is for whatever reason, parents are very afraid of having these discussions with their kids.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the one thing I've always said, like, my mom did really well with us, was that she was never shy about talking about, like, what drugs can do, which is the reason why, and Greg, you can attest to this, I really wasn't into that shit all the way through school. No drinking, no partying, none of that stuff. And even sex was very scary for me.
Mhm.
I dated a girl all the way through high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, and I'm sure we all felt that the first time, where you're like, oh my God, she's going to be pregnant. I'm fucking screwed. Because you just don't know what to expect. But it wasn't like just a willy-nilly thing, bro. There was real fear of like, oh man, if this happens, like I knew it. And that was because I had somebody that was telling me like, hey, these are consequences to what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think a big part of that. Go ahead, Greg.
I've heard studies that there's actually less physical contact now because of the whole stay at home, the COVID stuff, all this other stuff, and the hashtag Me Too movement. I've just heard that in general, there's a lot that is saying, hey, there's a lot of evidence out there that says that kids are not having sex as much.
Within the last 3 years or whatever.
I guess so, yeah. So I don't know what it is, but
maybe, I mean, sure, there's definitely some truth to that. I think that, like, I don't know about just the not being around people. I think people are over that.
Exactly.
But I think there's some other consequences that's happened recently that maybe people are a little more. And I think the Me Too thing and that whole thing is definitely something where, when back in the day when we go to like a middle school dance and you're just like, what's up, girl? You're hollering at the girl.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. There are especially boys who would just be like, I don't know, like they've seen and heard about situations.
I think a big problem is just the whole family aspect in general isn't what it used to be. Like
That's
there isn't like the relationship there isn't the mutual respect there anymore. And like if you were to tell your kids and have a conversation, unless you have those two things, they're not going to listen anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like just having the family aspect and being able to talk to each other and having a good relationship is very important. And like you might not have to put them on birth control so young if you guys had conversations and had a mutual understanding of what consequences were and all that stuff.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, Chris. It's supposed to be, hey, have some fucking responsibility here. Take responsibility for your actions and know what the consequences are.
Yeah, and I also think it's an easy out. That's kind of where I'm at with parents. I think that, a lot of parents, some do it for good reason. I'm not dogging that, but I'm saying a lot of parents just go, well, we should probably put them on birth control because you never know what's going to happen. They don't really think about it. They just do it. And that's the same with like a doctor just saying, I think they're depressed, and the parents like, well, just put them on antidepressants. Like, there's no thought behind how is this affecting my child?
What is causing this depression? Instead of just giving drugs.
So, I mean, poor parenting probably, lack of parenting, lack of consequences. There's a whole lot of stuff, man. But if kids understand that, like, you have a child, hey, man, listen, I'll help you as much as I can, but this is your responsibility. And like, you understand that you won't graduate possibly. Like, you might not get it that job you want. You might be struggling for a long time.
It's definitely going to be harder.
It's going to be a lot harder, man. So,
what was that one show where it was on MTV and they had like the young preteens having fucking babies and all this shit?
Yeah. It was,
what was it called? Like something Teen Mom?
Teen Mom.
Teen Mom, that's what it was.
So, I mean, I remember watching that, and some girls would watch that and be like, man, I can't wait to have a baby.
Oh my God, I want that.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of them would be like, wow, that is a fucking pain in the ass. And I know that there's some classes like in high school, some high schools do this where they have a fake baby doll. That cries when it's, you have to fake feed it and, fake change its diaper and all that stuff. And it cries, and you got to figure out what's going on with it.
Dude, even like the egg thing, man. Remember back then? I mean, we did that where you had to take care of an egg for 2 weeks and you couldn't let it break, dude. And he was just like walking around with a fucking egg. It was weird, but
oh, gross. I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, we did. We did in, I think, middle school, or maybe it was like freshman high school. But
was it in a plastic bag or something?
No, you got like you built a little cradle for it out of like just one piece of the egg carton.
Oh.
And they had like a little padding in there and shit.
The only thing we did with an egg is we had this class where we built like a structure around an egg, and then we had to drop it off the balcony if the egg didn't break. Then
that sounds more fun.
We passed.
That's more fun.
Oh hell yeah, bro!
Dude, the kids soak this shit up. Yeah. I want to say, I know we're bouncing here, but my daughter, right before she got out of school, like the last 2 weeks of school, Rowan, my oldest, she got in the car when I picked her up, and she's like, I don't want to be an adult. And I was like, because she's always said, like, I think it'd be so cool to be an adult, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Her class was actually going through and talking about how parents have bills and talking about electricity bills and phone bills and insurance. And she's like, I had no idea that, like, that's how much stuff you had to pay for. And I'm like, yeah, that's really good that your school's, you know, you're talking what, fourth grade, that they're like teaching you that, hey, because I always tell them, like, don't spend all your money, bro. Like, you know, you never know what you want down the road. But
I teach my kids that too, like here at the house, because I'm like, hey, shut off the lights. I got to pay for that shit. Hey, why are you running the water? You're brushing your teeth. Just close the water and brush your teeth, and then, you know. I
do that too, but for some reason, like, I don't know what they did, but they broke down, like,
connected
hey,
them.
Because she's like, I didn't know you were taxed. It's like they were telling her about getting taxed on your you know, when you get paid.
Yeah.
So they actually went through and just showed her, like, hey, this is how much a check can be. This is how much comes off right away, and this is where you have to put all this stuff as a parent. And I thought it was, like, very informative for her. She was literally like, I just had no idea, you know. And I'm like, yeah. Like, when you're bitching about that fucking ice cream that you want to $7 and I tell you no, there's a reason. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
she's in 4th grade?
Is it 4th? Yeah, 4th grade.
Going into 5th now, right? Yeah.
I think she's going into I think she's going to 5th. What's Kingston?
Going into 4th. So I think Roe would be going into 5th.
Yeah.
I think she's a grade ahead of him.
Because she's turning 11. But she also started, like, I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I'm mixing that up right now, but it's early, so maybe I am. But I think she's going to the 5th grade.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird, man. They go by fast. Yeah.
Van started kindergarten this year.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm very excited for the new school shit. I think that's going to be so cool, man. That they're going to be in the same school.
It's a huge school, right?
Such a beautiful school, dude. It really is a really pretty. All the schools are very, very nice and new. And it's cool that the kids are going to be in the same situation.
All in the same school now, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a positive. So anyways, guys, those are fun discussions, man.
Yes.
Very fun discussions. And happy hump day again to everybody. Hope you have a great one.
Yes,
you can go home, take a drink, and just be like, it's halfway over.
halfway over.
And don't forget, everybody, tomorrow the show will be live for everyone for the first half hour at least.
Yep.
And then we'll be switching to Patreon.
Absolutely.
Yes, and follow, like, and share our content, okay? That's what helps us get our name out there. So,
hit that notification bell, get all the updates. Greg, cheers to you. Chris, cheers
gentlemen.
to you. Take care, everybody.
Later.